Hey folks, welcome back. My name is Bill again, and I'm a developer advocate here at Rerun. Welcome to part two, a gentle introduction to Rerun. In part one, we built our first Rerun visualization with pretty static data. Now we're going to explore how to work with time in Rerun and really animate some data over multiple frames in a little bit of time. And by the end, you'll not only understand how to log time series data, but a working animation of some basic rotating points to really drill home the understanding. Now, as a reminder, Rerun is a visualization and query tool for multimodal data. And one of its most powerful features is how it handles time. In robotics, autonomous systems, and many other fields, understanding how your data changes over time is crucial. Today, we're going to build a demonstration that's going to help teach you that time-based logging capabilities. But enough talk. Let's go ahead and get building. Okay, here we are. So you can see here that I've already pulled up the script. I'm inside of our gentle introduction code. You can see all the code there. And let me go ahead and just run this again so that we are able to see the animation. So we'll go ahead and preview it. Then we'll walk through the code to really bring it all home. And so with that, what I'm going to do here is I'm just checking out the timeline because we're going to run this animation. I am going to do it by frames, and I'll go ahead and hit the play button here. And that's going to start this nifty little animation. I'm going to click right here to turn on looping so that it loops continuously here. And you'll see here that I'm basically able to zoom in. I'm going to hit Command on my keyboard. I am on Mac, and I'm able to just scroll using my mouse scroll. So that allows me to zoom in here. Obviously, I could do the same over here, but a little bit less of consequence. You can see here in the timeline that we are logging a bunch of data over the course of time. So here's our complete timeline. Let's go ahead and pause that and start looking at the code. So first things first here. What's important about this code is obviously the logging of data. We do animate these points, as you have seen, and we change their color and their size. I don't want to dive too deeply into like how we're doing that. You can just read the code. It's pretty straightforward. It's not really of consequence. Sorry, just got to turn off these settings here. Great. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the code. First things first, we will initialize Rerun, give it an application ID here, and start the viewer. Now we are going to define the points here, and I think that, again, we're going to see that static data. So we are logging this origin point here. We're making it black. We're adding a label, and we're saying that it's static, so it's not going to change over time. And that's a little hint to Rerun that, we can store it efficiently. Now we come into the frames here, and we're going to have basically 360 overall frames here. And what we're going to do, somewhat obviously, as you've seen, is we are going to be rotating our data in space over time. So the way in which we're going to do that is we take each of these points that we defined in our square, and we'll give it a new location for every time this loop runs. And so we will change the colors. You can see how exactly we're doing that, but it's really just RGB, no big deal there. Changing the radii and just we gave it a pulse rate in order to be able to do that. Then we will log those rotated points. So for every moment that we log them here, just pull up the selection panel. So I was playing around with it. I turned off the selection panel. You can see here that at this point in time, we have logged 4 values for the positions, one for each of our points, that the show labels is turned on, and we can see those in the visualizer as well. So that's us logging those 4 points. We will do that for every frame in here. We showed the labels, the colors, so on and so forth. And then you'll also notice we're going to log another couple of things. And this is where we're introducing not just points in 2D space, but some scalar values. And this allows us to log the X and Y position that's calculated based on the location. And that's what gives us this time series chart, because those values are changing over the course of time. And so With that, we also log the sort of radians, the rotation angle here, and that's based on this particular angle. And so that is this monotonically increasing line here. Now, inside of these views here, I'm able to turn off some of the lines. For instance, if I'm logging many points and I only want to look at some specific one, but that gets into the code. Now we can come back to the viewer and try and better understand what's happening here. So obviously this layout is controlled by the blueprint like we talked about in the first episode. I'm going to hit command and I'm going to use the scroll wheel on my mouse to be able to zoom in. And here you can see at every moment in time, or rather every log moment in time. So here's the 61st frame and the 62nd frame. So there's frame number 61, 62, so on and so forth. You can see here that we are logging some different values. And I think why this is so consequential is that when you get into more complex data, you will see that sometimes you might log one sensor, but not another sensor, because that other sensor hasn't fired to log data, right? You'll see here that we are logging things along the entity path, right? So we actually have this whole position entity here, entity here. Then we have another entity, which is 0.0, and we have one for each point. And then each of those have an X entity and a Y entity, which is made up of a component of scalar. So that shows you where this entity path really comes in and allows you to like drill in and be able to visualize things there. Now, while we're taking a look, maybe this animation is really nice, but maybe I just want to dive into here. So you saw that I removed that animation by simply hitting the little view icon in the viewer. If I want to be able to bring that back, I'm able to, excuse me, I just need to add to view, and I'll just set it as a 2D. So that has brought it back right here. I think I can remove it and add it back. So just simply by hitting that eyeball. I was clicking the wrong eyeball a little bit before. I can remove it entirely by clicking right there. I obviously don't need to do that, but if I do that by accident, I am able to just add it back to the view right here. And what's really nice about this is I can actually also, while I'm edit, show this data frame view. And that data frame view, remove this, when I am playing the data, I guess I don't need to animate it for this particular thing. So I'll go ahead and remove all of the different tabs that contain information. I'm able to just scroll through here. I added the entire animated square. And you can see here that I am logging all of this data. And you can see here that we are even logging, here's the positions that are logged as these 4 values. And so this data frame is all of my data there. I'm able to visualize it, click through it, so on and so forth, even just remove these particular columns. And that again gets into some of the value here where I'm able to visualize this data, either see the values, see this 2D space, see this particular timeline, and really be able to just understand everything about this data, right? And that's so critical for feeding a machine learning model, for understanding robotic perception, autonomy, and decision making. So that really wraps up part 2. In part 3, we're going to talk about transforms. We're going to build on this notion of time, and we're really going to start to see what Rerun is really capable of. And so with that, look forward to seeing you in part 3.